Spoiler alert, the offense is looking f***ing scary. Yo ho ho Da Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Da Mafia Report. As always, your host, Dan Mitchell. Day 4 of Buffalo Bills training camp has commenced. And while we're leading up to the Bills off day, let's just say that we have some pretty intriguing updates, positive for that matter. Right before we dive into it, I want to remind everybody that I am giving away 2 tickets to the Buffalo Bills and Pittsburgh Steelers for Week 5. In order to enter, you must be a subscriber to this YouTube channel, and you must leave a comment on this video. So without further ado, let's go on ahead and just dive into all of this. Now, a theme of training camp so far, besides today, has been the offense has had a little bit of a slow start. And prior to that, Josh Allen even told reporters that this is the time for him to be able to not only knock off the rust, figure out what does not work that may have worked last season, and then sort of take all of that in and polish it up. Well, today he is clearly a man of his word, because this man was a bat out of hell, according to reports. It was literally touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. You would think that Oprah was out there. It was legitimately an absolute breathtaking experience watching what the Buffalo Bills were doing in the red zone. From what I understand, he was throwing touchdown passes to Isaiah McKenzie, Stephon Diggs, of course, Dawson Knox, literally being a surgeon and destroying the number 1 defense in the entire NFL. This was against first-teamers. The biggest story, which is going to make me a very, very happy man, is he even ended up connecting with Gabe Davis. As many of us know, the last little bit of his season was dominant. We ended up seeing breaths of fresh air and high notes, thinking that this guy could eventually be a number 1 receiver if Diggs retires down the road or he starts regressing, which is probably not going to be for a long time. Long story short, Gabe Davis seems to have picked up exactly where he left off. The chemistry with Josh Allen is still there. He ended up coming up to camp about 5 pounds heavier within muscle, still doing good and really becoming that veteran that we know that he can be. We're probably going to have to pay this man an absurd amount of money within the next couple of years. His rookie contract was only for 4 years. We don't have that 5th-year option for him since he wasn't in the first round. But very interested to see if this chemistry continues. But I am so excited for the Gabe Davis show. All in all, an absolute amazing performance from the Buffalo Bills offense today, and a lot of us should be very, very excited about it. As far as smaller stories, I would say that some of the matchups were definitely something that were the theme so far, especially today. Number 1, according to reports, Stephon Diggs and Elam, our most recent first-round draft pick, have been very exciting to watch as far as from a wide receiver and a cornerback matchup, especially with Tre'Davious White, who is still on the sidelines with his team, not able to go out there and actually practice. Apparently, let's just say that Elam is, for the most part, actually keeping up with Diggs. Now, granted, let me do say that pads are not on. The first pads practice is going to be on Saturday, from what I understand. And let's just say that the competition is getting pretty heated. Diggs is winning, and then also Elam is winning. So that is saying great things on my perspective from how our rookie might be able to translate and fill in those shoes as Trey White hopefully gets back to 100%. I hear that they even ended up getting into a bit of an argument, but I love to see that competitive spirit within our team. Iron sharpens iron. Some other stories on top of that, Tommy Doyle actually ended up winning a rep against Von Miller today, right? Now, granted, it's just 1 rep, right? But really, when you look at it, our second-year tackle, if you're going to go on ahead and win a rep against arguably one of the best edge rushers of all time, if you had to ask me, that's an argument I'm willing to throw out there. Something to be proud of. He was quoted and asked whether or not that he celebrated, and he mentioned that he did not, because anytime you try to brag on Von Miller, he's literally going to put you on your ass. So he stayed humble, probably good, but I do like seeing that he was able to at least best one of the best edge rushers in the game, at least for one rep, especially since there's so many high expectations for our offensive line this year. And seeing one of our second-year tackles, an offensive lineman, being able to sort of take that next step within their career, it is only a positive. And so some other things, especially on the defensive side of the ball, looks like Boogie Basham and AJ Epinesa had a damn good day. Granted, this was against Bobby Hart, who a lot of us just cringe at the name of. I think there was a couple of games last year where he actually had to play on the offensive line, and let's just say that his presence was felt, not in a good way, but really glad to see that our other defensive ends in Boogie and then also Epinesa, who's entering his third year, are really starting to pay dividends. I just can't wait to see these guys out in pads, especially within the regular season. From what I'm seeing, looks like Ed Oliver had a hell of a day. Duke Johnson, a running back that we ended up picking up in free agency, also ended up performing pretty well. Now, granted, this is a competition. There's going to be players that have good practices. There's going to be players that have terrible practices. And it's normally rotating, especially once you start getting into the bottom of the depth chart and you don't necessarily know who's going to make the final roster. But seems like Duke Johnson had a hell of a game. Zach Moss, who I predicted earlier this month was not going to make this team, has seemed to be consistent. Maybe he's finally truly healthy. He's getting his full share of reps. The running back room competition is still very at large a question mark. Who knows exactly what's going to happen outside of James Cook and Devin Singletary? I really wouldn't be able to tell you. But so far, guys, I think that this is really positive news that's coming out of St. John Fisher right now. I think that we all need to get super excited, but also at the same time, we need to realize that this is only the first couple of days. There's no pads, and we're really not going to know how this team's chemistry is, frankly, until the preseason. I would almost even argue that we're not going to know until week 1 once we go up against the Los Angeles Rams. And so do me a favor, leave a comment. And as a reminder, that is a prerequisite for you to be able to win those Bills-Steelers tickets. But tell me your thoughts on exactly where you feel the Bills are in your mind. Is this kind of news making you excited, or are you a bit more on the timid side of things and you want to see padded practices, preseason, or even regular season? Always love hearing your feedback on that. Dal Mafia, if you are new here, my name is Dan Mitchell. I regularly put out Buffalo Bills and NFL content as much as humanly possible. If that's your cup of tea, do me a favor, smash the ever-living out of that like button, and subscribe to the channel. Join it, baby. Join the family. We love talking about this stuff over here. Thank you again for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dal Mafia Report. And before I let you go, you better always remember, let's go Buffalo.